Their pocket Meepo last pick strat really didn't work out. I'd like to see them kind of go back to a little bit more standard DC style and stop trying to get free wins from teams that are potentially better than them.
I mean, really, I don't know if this is a dumb question to ask, but do you think that GG was a little too early?
Absolutely not.
Maybe late.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, they had no way to like win team fights. They took that last desperation fight on the enemy shrine, and they thought, we'll do something crazier, maybe it'll work out, but.
The YOLO smoke. Last ditch.
Well, the players have let me know that the match is ready to begin. DC, with the cheeky last pick Meepo, failed miserably in the last game with one of the shortest matches. Will they adjust their draft, or will LGD be yet another Chinese team advancing forward at this international? Let's find out. Traditional bans for this tournament coming out from DC, Nyx Assassin and Bat Rider, and similarly on LGD, Puck and Naga. These are I believe these are the 4 most banned, or 4 of the 5 most banned at this entire tournament.
Is it time for Bull Basanking instead?
I don't know. I'm disappointed he may have given up on the Spirit Breaker after last game. I thought he was crushing it. One thing I would like to see DC do a little bit differently this time is maybe wait on their cores a little bit. I know that we talked about them not really playing too many different cores, but I think second picking Queen of Pain and third picking Lycan might be a little too direct of an approach.
Feels like that LGD was just very confident with Magnus, that they just feels that they can pick it in the first 2 here.
Yep, so here we go, Magnus Kunkka, a massive amount of team fight being shown by LGD very early.
Don't have to worry about the Meepo again.
Definitely not.
So LGD had a very well-balanced draft. That's what I think Digital Chaos were lacking. They were trying to do this gimmicky thing. Okay, let's pick Queen of Pain in the first phase and try and swap it up.
And there's Sven for Mason. Once again, picking cores really, really early. I think that this is one of the 3 heroes that he's had a lot of success on. I think this hero matches up just fine against Magnus and Kunkka throughout the game.
They're gonna have to ban Troll on DC right now. They even have Magnus already on LED, so.
That's true. When you could see that Troll Warlord rush into the fights with the BKB on and just chop at Sven, constantly bashing him.
We've seen Sven have an extraordinarily successful series of games at this event. Not just in group stages, but of course, Resolution. An amazing, amazing series of games for Team Empire. But of course, Sven was 4th picked in those games. Second pick always creates more opportunities for the team to counter.
What are you guys thinking DC's approach will be to this early Magnus pick? I feel like they'll try and combat it with...
I really hope that they try to shut him out of the lane in the beginning and make sure that his stagger is delayed and that he's only going to be this Blink RP hero and not more of a damage dealer that he can become later on in the game.
Yeah, that's what we saw last game. I was potentially worried about that Magnus just carrying by himself.
Yeah. What are the types of things that happen for Magnus if he is able to get farm and if he's not?
Well, if he levels up in power pretty early and he gets a couple of items that'll help him farm faster. Sometimes we even see Magnus like skip Blink and go Echo Saber, and they become this like hard carry with treads. We didn't see that last game, but once he levels up in power, he can start farming the jungle incredibly fast, and he can be 5 or 6 slotted pretty early into a game and have a huge physical damage capabilities.
You can kind of view him similarly to Enigma, I would say, although a little bit different because Enigma you can synergize with many heroes, whereas Magnus is mostly melee heroes, but they both farm a lot, and then once it gets to the super late game, like the thing about Magnus is there's no item that you can build that's great versus him. BKB doesn't really matter, RP still pierces it, and anything else you just get cleaved down. Even armor is not particularly useful like Warcry, because if you get RP with one of your teammates, you can still get cleaved if he's not the main target. So it's just very difficult to itemize versus him if he gets a lot of farm, and he gets Shadow Blade, which make countering the initiation much more difficult.
Very similar to Enigma, actually. I like that comparison. A little bit different. He has got the instant disable, and it also groups everybody up instead of just kind of wishing them around in the black hole.
We have seen some Oracle pairings with Sven, and we have seen some Oracle versus the Kunkka. It might be an option that they want to turn to try and deal with the RP. A lot of times, I think teams try to pick Puck too, and try and disrupt the Magnus, just find him in the back of the fight, coil him, Shadow Strike him with Queen of Pain just so he can't get that good initiation off, but that's rather unreliable.
I really like the Oracle pick for DC if they choose to go for it.
Something to bail Sven out of trouble if he ever does get locked down before he gets his BKB off. Do you think that LGD will pick up any more control through Magic Community with this early Sven pick? Sven inevitably is going to build a BKB, and we've seen Sven's.
I mean,
all throughout
they did ban the 2 best heroes against Sven, both Void and Troll.
And
Nice.
normally Victoria plays the Tusk and the Kunkka, or else I would suggest that they could pick Tusk to try and deal with the BKB Sven. But
Death Prophet. These teams are not afraid to pick up their cores.
This is a combo that we've seen a lot of the games. Actually, we saw Empire pick it twice in their games yesterday against EG. This Sven and Ancient Apparition combo.
Or
LGD.
combination now.
Yeah. No, Sven and AA. Oh.
A is a soft counter to Death Prophet.
Yeah, I was
That's
going to
the-
ask about that, because Ancient Apparition's ultimate prevents healing, and we've been seeing Death Prophet do really amazing things, having just enough life to stay alive in those key team fights.
That's the hardest thing about Death Prophet is managing your soul siphons and making sure you land a couple in fights, and then being aware of how much damage or how far you can go into a fight without actually being bursted down.
both of the LGDs love this combo though. The Kunkka Death Prophet, like, yeah, AA won't let you heal, but you're actually not going to die too, because Kunkka Boat with Death Prophet is like, you're going to get a ton of damage from your X.
Especially if you get Oracle ulted, you start soul siphoning people, you're getting double the healing.
And actually, Oracle is quite good against AA as well, because if you actually get the heal after your ultimate, like if AA ultis you and Oracle ultis you afterwards, and the AA ultimate wears off before Oracle's ulti wears off, then you actually get the HP that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it kind of goes both ways.
Another great thing about Ancient Apparition, we've seen him throughout this tournament be a nice finisher for ganks that have been happening in the early game. He's been a really, really fun hero to watch.
He also provides the team a little bit of vision, being able to launch ultimates all over the map. You can sometimes find little snippets of information about your team, your enemy team's location. Also, the Ice Vortex is a pretty long range, and you can scout inside the Roche pit, or maybe up a hill, without actually putting any of your heroes at risk.
Lena, first hero ever played in Dota, so of course, special place in my heart for Abe.
An affinity for it. Great burst hero. Dealing with Death Prophet is, one of the ways to kill her is to burst her. She likes to play aggressively. She likes to play on the, on the edge. But a Laguna Blade coming in at the right time could kill her while she's, being a little too overconfident.
And Lina really works well with the Sven as well to follow up his stun to make sure that they can't get out.
Lots of instant disables with Sven and Sand King for Lina to follow up on.
At least from just seeing like these 4 picks from each team, I like the way that DC is going to handle the Magnus, because Sven and AA is one of the strongest heroes in the safe lane early on. What's called the Sven stun is actually 2 seconds long, so if AA uses his cold feet and Sven stuns afterwards, the Magnus is going to have to skewer away, and the CD is quite long on that, so they're going to be able to keep him away from experience and gold.
What's the last pick you want to look for here as DC?
Well, we're about to find out.
Prophet.
Oh, interesting.
Furion, I think Furion is pretty good here. I think having some treants running throughout the map, scouting for vision is going to be pretty important. I think LGD definitely has a team fight advantage with the 4 heroes they have here. So being able to see what's actually happening and potentially finding this Magnus before the fights take off is going to allow DC to position themselves to win team fights.
Kunkka's quite good against Prophet, so that is the main problem I see with him.
Yeah.
He's like one of the best ones to be able to stop him.
I look at Magnus and Kunkka as being the 2 initiators for LGD, and I think it's really difficult for them to start fights in that way, especially once DC picks up some like a BKB on Sven or a BKB on Prophet. I think that when LGD goes to initiate, DC is going to jump them, and unless Oracle and Magnus are ready to counter-initiate, don't know how well that fight goes for them.
In that way, the trees helps out really well to be able to scout them out.
Exactly.
The game is a lot about vision, so.
Yeah, and when 2 teams have a ton of team fight, it's more so about how you take the fight rather than who's actually stronger. The last pick, Anti-Mage.
That is a different turn of strategy from what I expected with the DP and Magnus, but
Everybody likes Sven up against Anti-Mage. A ton of physical damage coming out from Sven with his ultimate is, you can actually burst down Anti-Mage pretty easily. So Yao's going to be really on top of this game and very selective with the Oracle ultimates he throws out.
I think Mag AM is a different story though. That's Mag AM versus Sven, I think AM has the advantage.
It's going to be a very interesting game with the last pick, Anti-Mage, as Anti-Mage can sometimes turn to the final boss of the game with his ability to accumulate so much farm. It's time to head into game number 2, where DC is 1 game away from elimination and LGD is 1 game away from top 8.
Thank you very much, Day9. And indeed, here we go, game 2. We're seeing something a little different from both sides, mainly from DC. Coming in with something a bit different as the panel say, getting Mason back on sort of his Sven, having this AA follow-up. But this lineup, I'll tell you what, from LGD, they've got Anti-Mage Magnus. I mean, this is just, it's insane, you know what I mean?
We've got
The
two
farm
very...
is never going to stop. They've got Death Prophet, Oracle, they have, again, you know, Magnus performance, game 1, 11 blew us away. It's not going to be a walk in the park at all for DC. This is going to be tough.
This is definitely going to be a hard one. Both teams, though, having pretty comfortable lineups that they're used to playing with. LGD has some of their absolute signature heroes, like we were talking about, the Kunkka, the Mag, Death Prophet. These are the big 3 that they've been playing a lot. And then we throw back to DC. Same kind of similar scenario with Boba and the Sanking. 4F playing that Nature's Prophet. This Anti-Mage pick, though, the last pick Anti-Mage is massive in this game, because now it's really the Sven versus the world. Can Sven be able to match up versus this? It's a lot up to the early game. They're very magic damage oriented besides that Sven. And Anti-Mage, incredibly good versus Nature's Prophet and Lina. These 2 high mana pool heroes that can be very susceptible to that mana void. And like Merlini talked about, when it's Anti-Mage versus a Sven, Sven wins out. But when it's Anti-Mage plus a Magnus, that's a completely different story because of how fast you enable him. And then you can actually kind of take fights away from the Anti-Mage for a bit because of the other 4 heroes that they have, the Kunkka, the Mag, the Death Prophet. These guys can force aggression. They can force objectives.
Yeah, a lot of eyes towards Mason to see how hard he can carry this game.
A lot of execution things coming into play, though. Like Ake mentioned, with the Oracle ultimate being able to be used with versus AA, you have to time it pretty well to get that heal burst while the AA blast is wearing off. And then Death Prophet into Sven can be sometimes a little bit complicated too, because the Warcry is very good versus the Exorcism. So it's all about like how these fights actually start and who gets blown up and how well they're able to actually use the Oracle for the Fortune's End or for the False Promise.
Interesting to see how this mid lane goes to begin with. Both Dubu and Victoria looking to back up their respective partners. Mid lane, see if they hang around.
Let's see how either of these the safe lanes pair off. Is 11 going to be able to get away with it again and get a ton of experience? Is he going to be able to get all those lasts like he has been? We'll find out. 4F should be able to get a good amount more here with the help of Boba at the start. They're going to have those pesky treants, plus a Sanking in the vicinity. While Victoria just tries to annoy Abed, as we kind of expect him to do. He's been playing around the mid lane a lot in the first minute or so in majority of their games.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to keep him on toes whenever he wants to come in with the torrent spam and such. And then that Abed. And maybe in this mid lane, it should be a bit of an even trade in terms of farm. Of course, both have...
Just got to watch the torrents.
Dragon State, indeed, there is the connection. Siphon coming in. Not enough to get the kill, but a lot of harassment. And yes, exactly as you said. You know, if Victoria hits these random torrents, there's definitely potential to bully Abed out of this lane when he is alone.
Especially when Victoria hits level 2. If they hit the far torrent and then he walks up and is able to close the gap and get an X mark off, X mark plus a Spirit Siphon, Abed will drop pretty easily if he's a little bit lower than full health. If he's full health, I think he can still survive for the first few levels.
Up top 11, being forced to certainly be a little bit more careful than he was game 1.
Doing damn well, though.
He is still finding quite a bit of it. He's got this nice wave coming down towards him. We'll see if Dubu can maintain control of this top lane with the side pulls and such as he begins to make them.
Pretty impressive because he actually got the block in the initial part of the game. He actually skewers back Mason to the tower to put some damage on him just to be annoying. In the initial part of the lane, he got the range creep in front. Although Mason did also get denied a little bit afterwards, he was able to get that lane pressure coming out toward him. So level 3 already on that offlane mag, where you could expect him to pretty much be fully shut down from the AA Sven combo, as Ake was mentioning. It's a very hard lane to actually go up against with that hard stun plus the cool beat.
Lane still both far ahead and maybe standing toe to toe, and it's turned into a true 1v1 now with Victoria turning his attention back towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, Ame suffering a bit in last hits, 6-1. They have to make sure that they can keep him online. It's Death Prophet now, got a head start, should be able to keep that head start going. Now it's time to help the Anti-Mage. He is the real full win condition versus the lineup of DC.
Yeah, Forever certainly having a good time down here. Nearly has the phase boots complete. LGD really trying their best. They've got a lot of catch, of course, between these two supports. Once there's a few levels, they've got a bit of nuke damage potential as well.
DC already has a massive stack up at their hard camp. It's already 1, 2, 3, 4. 4x stacked up for the Sven once he gets level 6. So that can be something nice to get the AA a faster level 6 online with the Sven cleaving that down, or Sven doing the neutrals while AA just saps the lane, something along those lines. And now Boba trying to maximize. This is a good move. They forced a lot of aggression onto the anti-mage. They probably expected the Kunkka to be making those rotations. They actually do see him as well with that ward they placed on the river. So as soon as he makes the move away, Boba's like, okay, I can at least get a bit more farm since Forev should be just fine down bottom now.
Yeah, and they need to shut this anti-mage down as
Phase
hard as they
boots.
can.
Phase boots already on Forev. So
Yeah, this lane's going to get scarier for this anti-mage.
I'm struggling.
But we know that there's definitely going to be the potential for him to have that real spike in farming potential once he has the Empower buff, and at least that battle period treads, or whichever he wishes to finish first, so he can withstand the neutral creeps in the jungle and get that catch-up farm.
Victoria has Dubu a big caught out. Can they catch the Torrent? That doesn't even need it. Maybe just walks up. It's going to be first blood for Maybe.
Very nicely set up there for Maybe.
Victoria was actually hiding in the Roche pit to wait for the rune spawn, and Dubu just didn't really expect that. Didn't even need to connect the Torrent.
Look at this down bottom. Arme totally being bullied back here. He's only down to the last shared tango. Does of course have the Oracle that he can rely on a little bit to help heal him up, but levels still aren't quite there. And yeah, Boba
making a nighttime
Dubu,
smoke right now.
they might be able to get the catch onto mid. Depends how far we see Somnus maybe come out.
Got a lot of damage here.
He's playing very safe with his position. Now he's on the edge. It's just a question of DC want to go. They've got a lot of stuns, a lot of control. With the TP in as well from Forever, making sure that this is a guaranteed kill, and indeed it is. Successful rotation there from Bulber and Dubu. Nicely done.
They got to make all those work.
Well.
4F TP's out though from bottom lane now. Ame gets the lane to catch back up, and during all that, it's 11. You know, we talked about the mag from the last game getting a pretty free lane. It's happening again. They are shutting down the anti-mage, but the mag was one of the big issues in the last one. He is coming off to a great start in this already.
And even these little items, now that Ame has the pullman shield and the Ring of Hell, that's enough to sort of help withstand any sort of harassment that comes his way. And
yeah,
in fact, as it is for Ev, he's just making the long walk back to the bottom lane. So it's still a lot of time that Ame's getting that lane opened up, top lane. Trying to make the connection there onto old 11, but he did get the skewer out in time.
Now, I think he actually knows there's a ward there, too. The stun from distance. He felt like he was out of distance. He even pings it out, so we might see that being de-warded, which will hurt DC's early vision for sure. LGD now with the smoke. They're set up around Abed mid, but Abed seems very aware of this. Look at how far positioned he is on the right side.
Look at a decent amount of catch there with the 2 points in the X mark. They may just go for Bulber instead, as they have him coming up to the high ground. We'll go for the Sandstorm, but of course they've got the Torrent to cancel the channeling. Somnus maybe coming in as well. Siphon's there. Bulber does have the Burrow Strike. Will go for the high ground. Tries for the Quick Swarm's connection, but it's not going to quite be there as Bulber will get himself out to safety. This mid lane now opened up a little bit for Somnus with this aggression and rotation from his two supports, Yao and Victoria. As we see the Death Prophet take the lead at the moment for the net worth. Still definitely the biggest discrepancy being that between the two safe laners, Mason. Obviously having the better time in this opening laning stage in comparison to Arme.
Yeah. As long as, let's see how the supports are doing in maximizing. We actually have every single support in the game is level 3. So everyone's kind of suffering with their rotations. Victoria gets the connection onto Mason with the X2.
They brought the Death Prophet around. They do have exorcism ready to go. Somnus says, we're going to fight it, boys. Forever will TP across. Bulber with the Burrow Strike to hold back maybe. Mason pops the God Strength, trying to man up with the damage. This Death Prophet's too strong. Takes down one, takes down two. They're not even done yet. Maybe they could look towards Bulber as well. 11 kind of skewers Bulber away though.
Body blocking.
Now allowing the Siphon to reconnect.
The blocks.
They're coming in for more. This Death Prophet having the absolute rotation of a life. 7.5 minutes, Somnus coming in and picking up a triple kill.
And they're going to clean up the 4 stack that we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
The whole thing, all the big creeps goes for LGD.
What a rotation there. Could not have happened at a better time.
Now they've got the Shrine up as well, so full heal back up 11. Level 7 mag with Arcane Boots and the Soul Ring are ready. That's That's pretty scary. The two big team fighters are absolutely online. That offlane Magnus, top 2 in net worth.
And whilst this is going on up top, of course, all the more space for Arme to slowly climb his way back in. He's getting the solo XP. And now not doing too bad at all in terms of the smaller early items. We are going to see DC try and make a move immediately out of the base. Smoke from Bulba and Dubu. Arbed now with the level 6 ready and waiting. A kill onto Somnus would be pretty big at this stage. Off the back of him being fattened
They're
up by
ready
that triple
for
kill.
this, though. They have the Oracle.
And in fact, the Torrent's connecting onto Arbed. It's going to be LGD going in first, Arbed. He's going to try and get his way out of it with the light strike, trying to play it out. Victoria looking to see how he can react, but already there's the wraparound coming through. DC, they will catch and shut down the Death Prophet. Maybe
Yeah,
Arbed can get more. Still with this haste rune, finds the connection with the light strike, and DC, they'll get a couple out of this one.
Don't know if they actually saw the haste rune in the bottle. It seemed like, with the way that they made that aggressive move. They actually had Yao behind them too. It looked like he hesitated a bit on the Fate's Edict. Would have almost been able to block like the Laguna and maybe the Sanking stun damage. Could have potentially turned that fight, but just a bit out of range and just a little bit unexpecting the DC rotation. And now they're able to get a lot of tower pressure here. Should be able to bring it down as well. So LGD does have to make sure now, when they're playing versus DC, is to play around their ultimate timings.
They do have the X mark.
Unless they can get an AA
Yeah,
right
Victoria
here.
looking for the catch here. Dubu does still have Bulba in the neighborhood. They may not even be able to get him. He's going to continue to back up. Okay, with that Torrent and the Siphon, they'll certainly finish it off. The rest of DC out of there. The Somnus comes back into the lane, picks up a free kill. Top lane 11 now. This maxed out Shockwave doing a good job at trying to harass Mason back.
I'm curious if he's going to go for the Battle Fury since they have the Mag and power. I was wondering if he's going to go for Vanguard. He actually now queues up the Lincolns first. So I wanted to deal with that, those heavy stuns that DC does have. Just that stat bonus as well. The nice thing about having a Mag, don't need to go for that Battle Fury. You can have that stat advantage.
Yeah, having the Lincoln certainly going to give him enough regen to hop around the jungle.
They've got a ward behind the tower. They're looking for 4F here.
Quite a nice
know
catch.
something's up though.
Arbed as well, close spy in the jungle. And indeed LGD not to catch anyone there with that movement.
But an Arcane Rune bottom, and they have DP ulti up. This could be where they just try to force the tower with it.
Yeah, straight away. And unlikely to see any sort of reaction from DC as this bottom lane is pushed in. Dubu at the moment up top, trying to find his level 6. He's only touching on to level 5 at the moment.
They're trying to make the trade. 4F just goes top. They have a catapult wave coming in. It's 10-minute mark, so this should be able to put a good amount of pressure. That being said, though, it is a Mag who is level 10. So Max Shockwave is online, plus the talent with that spell amplification to clear out the waves.
And they look like they're going to be able to do a decent job of holding this. I mean, Bulba is there on the side. We'll see if any further TPs come in from LGD. They've got the fortification. The actual, their side, they're staying down bottom. They're looking to put some pressure now onto the tier 2 as well. Now the TPs come through from Digital Chaos. They're coming in from the side as well for the Shrine. Bulba, seeing if he can get some sort of a setup. Comes in with the Burrow Strike. And then in return, I mean, Bulba could get turned upon. He gets silenced. There's Mason looking for the stun. Finds it onto Somnus. With the Siphon already out on Bulba, they know that there's too much survivability on this Death Prophet for those two alone to commit.
LGD wants their 2 supports to hit level 6 before they try to make anything too crazy happen. Having that boat online plus the Fortune's End will make their fight, well, make the Death Prophet super hard to bring down and gives them a lot more damage. Which right now, most of their damage is coming just from that Death Prophet. But still, quietly, slowly but surely, look at the net worths. They're pretty even on the 3 cores, but 11 is the big one, where it's just like, this is the off-lane Mag. He's already level 11, almost level 12 at the 12-minute mark, and he's going to have Blink Dagger at the, it seems like an even earlier time in the last game.
This is truly terrifying. And we know, we saw how well LGD can play around having that RP available, shutting down games within 22 minutes. We'll see if they can get the ball rolling as hard this time round, and they definitely have the tools to do so. Having this Death Prophet in their lineup, having the Exorcism back online, Rule Scepter done as well, LGD wanting to make use of this. But it was underneath and around that ward, so we'll see how DC prepare for this one.
There's still no boat online, so it's 12 minutes, Kunkka's only level 4, but Oracle is 6 now for the saves. And with the Yule Scepter pick up, they actually might just find Mason
They
here.
might do indeed. Mason caught in the jungle, will turn with the stun, but the X mark into the Torrent is going to be on point. Pops the war cry, it's not enough to keep him alive. Mason caught out in the jungle, LGD.
The dream pick off right there. Abed now gonna just try to pressure that bottom tower, at least to do something with the space that was given while Mason's dead. And LGD won't be able to capitalize on pressuring the top tower off of that since the Wrath of Nature was deployed to push the lanes out from Forev. Try to halt that push a bit, but now they're wrapping behind mid. Dubu might be the culprit here.
He's almost certainly going to get spotted out here, Somnus, if he continues to move.
Just saw them. They just showed themselves. Dubu, get out of there.
Victorious, seeing if he can get the X mark, but indeed Dubu gets himself back up to the high ground. Does have that Ice Blast ready to go. Bulba. Level 6 at the moment on the Sand King. Let's put the point into the ult. Over the 3-3 at the moment.
DC doesn't have great ways of starting the fight, while now LGD has multiple ways. With that Magnus Blink Dagger and with the X that we've previously stated, it makes it easier for them to get those catches, while DC, there's no Blink Dagger on Sand King, and Mason is also still about 1,000 gold too from that Blink. So no way for them to just get on top of LGD and force initiation. And during all this, they post up 4 heroes mid from LGD, while Ame just slowly but surely accelerates with that power. So the downtime definitely benefits LGD during this.
And they very nearly have the ultimate orb on Ame towards that Lincoln Sphere. As we were saying earlier, once that's there, he's going to feel very confident jumping into these fights. Mason, popping the God Strength, trying to speed up his farm. He needs to do something indeed, as we can still see the 3 individuals of LGD, the highest in net worth at the moment. Mason just scraping behind that Death Prophet.
Look at how the supports are playing on LGD though. They are literally not moving from maybe side. It's pretty hard for them to bring down the anti-mage at this point because of how tanky it is. They have to pretty much get all the stuns on him.
Oh, they will get the wrap around here straight away with the Ice Blast going on. So maybe he does have the self-fuels, but he falls down low and he gets taken out. The Dragon Slave's enough. DC.
Perfect.
That is a big pick indeed. Catching out that Death Prophet.
Leads into an objective as well. Most important type of kills for DC here.
Yeah, alleviates the threat of potential pressure from LGD as well, making sure that the Exorcism is off the map for 15 seconds, blink back from mode 11, and indeed DC. They'll get away with taking this tier 2 for now.
So instead of going for Lincoln's, picks up his own Battle Fury. Change his mind.
Change of plan.
Wants his own. He wants to be, since the way that the pace is, like he's just playing completely away from the Magnus. He doesn't want Mag to cross the map and keep having to empower him. So having your own Battle Fury can have its own benefits.
I mean, maybe, you know, as you say, LGD themselves realize, well, we can absolutely just play the farm game. And, of course, having the Battle Fury and Empower is insanely ridiculous. Having almost what's out to be, it's what, 100% cleave or very close to. It's incredibly quick. How fast he can get around the map, clean up these camps. And very, very little chance that Mason can catch up purely by farming neutrals. They've got to find action, they've got to find fights, and in fact, bottom lane, they're looking for it. Bulba leads in, Ice Blast will be flying through, False Promise out just in time, but this is going to be a lot of damage out to Somnus.
He is very
definitely gone. Too much damage being built up, and he will pop. LGD lose 2, DC doing exactly what they need, getting involved. They'll get the Courier as well, as also picking up Victoria.
Getting 3 there.
Absolutely perfect. They know that they can't play the farm game against this empowered Battle Fury anti-mage. They have to look for these fights, get Mason involved, and that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, Mason picking up that Blink Dagger first, instead of going for those other type of farm items, is really important for them to keep that pressure going. He knows that Bulba wasn't getting it too early, so he made the judgment call of going for it. Bulba getting that nice stun as we see. And with them just completely outnumbering, and you can see LGD is nowhere in the vicinity to help this.
Absolutely not. They get the False Promise out, as we say. No amount of siphoning is going to offset the damage coming through from these cores on DC. Big fight there for Digital Chaos. Getting some of this momentum that they struggled to find in game 1.
They need to get those pickoffs. Like that one was perfect too, because RP is up, so it's a risky kind of play, but they were aware of where LGD's heroes were and capitalized on it very quickly. These moves need to happen super fast. That's a nice thing about having the Lina, having the Laguna, and having those burst heroes.
Still though, as we can see, Ame, the anti-mage at the top, was not involved in that last affair, keeping himself well ahead of the pack. Manta Style next up.
And his, we touched on it slightly during the beginning of the game, but him matching up. During this versus the Sven doesn't match up incredibly well, of course, unless you're very far ahead. But versus Lina and Nature's Prophet, it's the dream.
Shadowblade on 11 as well, so more catch potential for LGD if they want to try and look for these fights.
He's so farm. He's more farm than his Death Prophet. 150 CS on that off-lane mag. Pretty ridiculous.
See what they can get done here. DC grouping up as 4 towards the top. They're actually going to bring in Arbed as well. So the full lineup up on this top lane. I mean, are DC at a point where they can simply 5-man and start to take these tier 2s down?
No, it's still scary. Like you have the threat of the Blink Dagger versus the mag, and there's still the Kunkka bow. That's the thing that we haven't really gotten to see because Victoria was very underleveled. He didn't get level 6 until like a couple minutes ago, about 3-4 minutes ago. And now it looks like they're trying to make some action happen, perhaps. Kind of all gathered, but now they're very afraid. They don't see anybody from the side of DC, and they have very aggressive deep wards, so they know something's going on right now. All sticking together, sticking very close around 11. Gonna step up with that Shadow Blade, go for some scout. DC now has 2 ways to start the fight with Boba with the Blink Dagger. DC wants to farm that BKB on Sven.
Yeah. He's relatively
Next step.
close, isn't he, Mason? Yeah.
It's getting close, yeah. Abed also finished up the Bloodstone, so that'll help. If they can give him a fast amount of Bloodstone charges, that's one of the okay ways to make sure that your mana doesn't get burned too fast from Anti-Mage. If you have crazy amount of charges, just regen it too quickly.
And we can see overall, the actual overall network hopping between the 2 sides as they're pretty much bang on this midpoint.
Now LGD's looking to make the fight happen. Picked up the Soul Booster on the Death Prophet, a bit more HP, feeling a little bit squishy before they wanted to take that fight.
1 RP, and we know the incredible amount of destruction and power that can follow through from LGD's lineup if 11 gets that initiation.
Dubu draws a circle around all of LGD's heroes, expecting this kind of move happening. Maybe shows himself, starts threatening the tower with Exorcism. DC are in the vicinity. They continue to split push with Forev and Abed. But still, not wanting to really take a head-on fight just yet when they don't have that BKB on Sven.
This will be a free tier 2.
Once the Exorcism's down, they could consider it, because that's a lot of the damage that does go down, but still a bit scary fighting into LGD's RP with the boat on top.
And LGD themselves, they have got the potential to go to the tier 2 on the top lane and take more if they wish. DC backing off in this bottom lane as soon as Arme shows his face.
This Anti-Mage is getting too big. It's 13,000 net worth compared to the 9,000 of the Sven.
Yeah, even if they lock him down and get Mason's hands on him at this stage, still almost certainly going to be the chance for him to escape. Especially considering the backup, the lineup that Arme has around him.
Ahmed's going for the Aghanims. Next up item, it looks like. Picks up the point booster. Great spells to reflect this game. All those different stuns and disables that are coming out, even the Orchid from Forev. Does have the Manta Style to remove that one, but in case it does come out, he does have the benefit of the Ags when he gets it. So this ward by DC is very good that they place in their defensive jungle. It's a very natural ward that you see placed versus anti-mages and versus heavy farming heroes. You always want to, you know he's going to eventually go into your jungle just with how mobile and how fast he does farm. He will get into your jungle, so at least watching that is very important. Pace slows down quite a lot though. 6 to 8, 21 minutes.
Yeah, and as you said, you've really got to feel that this is definitely LGD being happier with this sort of passiveness.
Yeah.
With that, just the speed that this anti-mage is climbing.
Yeah, the Death Prophet's not farming a crazy amount, but he's not the one that, you know, he matters, but he's not. Oh, the RP actually off the mark. The Blink Dagger pickup from Abed, able to juke it out. The unexpected Blink.
Now DC, they're going to try and do something off the back of that whiffed RP. Smoking up Bulba to the high ground. They could look for Roche. This is also definitely an opportunity with no RP available.
They know this is going on, though. They were pinging it out. They look like they want to try to make an engagement here, but with no RP, it can be very tough. And Forev has been scouting nonstop with those Treants.
Yeah, smart move here from DC. They see there's no RP. They know that they necessarily can't take a fight because of one ult being down, but they can certainly look for an objective like that. Grabbing the Aegis, getting it into the hands of Mason.
They see Abed, who does not have the Aegis. Looks like they want to try to make it go on him. 11.
Oh, yeah, he could be in a lot of trouble there. 11 looking for the setup. Abed will be gone on, jumping and kills himself immediately. Knows that there's no escape. Other than taking himself out, he will be down for just the 10 seconds.
But that is the 12 charge bloodstone that does get dropped down, and they have the Aegis. They don't expect that kind of aggressive move coming out from LGD. And during all this now too, Yama just still continues to farm. Almost the Aghanim's finished up, 200 gold away.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to catch him.
Yeah.
Once that Axe is on.
He's already super hard to bring down. And still, the two supports from LGD are playing it very safe though. They're not trying to make these risky plays. If you watch a lot of teams, they might go for more epic pickoffs. They're understanding what the nature of their lineup is. They're sitting either 2 heroes behind the Death Prophet or 2 heroes behind the Anti-Mage in majority of the times.
Not only do they have this Axe now done on Arme, they're looking to get the Lotus Orb out on 11. So another way that they can make sure that this Anti-Mage has full control during these team fights.
Sentry Ward gets placed down. 11 actually walks
yeah,
up. Gonna get brought down.
Yeah, they find that even though the silence comes out onto them, the Godstrake's already there. DC, can they get more out of this though? They'll move down this top lane. They should be able to find a tier 2. No Magnus for 45 seconds. That's quite an opening for DC to use. So they go for anything else. They do still have the Aegis on Mason. A couple of seconds left on Godstrake. And they're going to try and push in even further.
Ame is going to trade though. He's going to go right up onto the high ground, and he hits pretty darn hard on those towers right now. They have to back up.
Arbeg actually going straight in. He's just bursted down the cooker. Somnus trying to lead it, but the Ice Blast is there. False Promise comes out just in time. Maybe taking a lot of damage.
The split push. Ame's getting the tier 3 right now.
Yeah, that's one tower down in the mid lane. DC on the TP back. Dubu will make it. Can the rest of them, though, Lightstrike trying to hold back the side of LGD. They've found Bulba in the sidelines. The Ghost still out. They'll get the Sand King at least. And the rest of DC do escape. But as you say, DC, they do not get the tier 3, whereas LGD, having Arme clearing out that mid. This anti-mage, we've talked about it getting out of hand, and it really feels like, Fog, what is their answer to this anti-mage? How do they deal with him, whether it be him turning up to a fight, whether it be him going for the split push plays? He just seems a fair few steps ahead of what DC can offer in this game at the moment.
Yeah, they have to pretty much chain lock him down and hope that there's no Oracle there to save him, but Ame's not playing in the fights. He doesn't need to still. He's just like, okay, I'm going to farm until I have my Abyssal Blade, and that's when I can actually just blink on top of Sven, deal with him, or just blink on top of Lina and burst her instantly. Once that Basher Abyssal Blade up, oh man, this could be a big RP.
He's got up here as well. He's eyeing it up. Won't go for it on Arbed.
A little bit of hesitation there. Wrath of Nature comes out. They're trying to get onto 11 here, but unable to close the distance. So the next, the solutions are going to have to just be chain locking down that anti-mage somehow, maybe going for a sheep stick on somebody later on to deal with that, but there is that Aghanims, so it can be super annoying. You can hex yourself, and
Arme's
a lot of ways to save him.
Basher complete as well now.
Yeah, 6,000 ahead of Sven.
Absolutely incredible. Mason really needs that next big item or two to be able to stand toe-to-toe in the fights. He's working towards the Assault Cuirass. But it really is going to be so difficult for DC to just find that chance to do something around the anti-mage.
Empower. Still racking up the gold. So LGD probably waiting for that Aegis to tick out. It's got about 1 more minute left on it, and then they can take a big straight-up 5v5 fight, not really be too concerned. Maybe wanting to pick up a gem of their own could be the next investment opportunity for Victoria.
Do see him under this ward. They want to try and make the jump. Bulba coming in and has the dust straight away with the Stormhammer. Ice Blast, everything coming through. 11's got.
Nice.
Quick reactions there from DC as soon as the Magnus came under their vision.
Yeah, LGD destroyed one of the wards, but the secondary ward gets placed down. And
But look at this again. Look who's on the split push. Arme's ready to start bringing them back. We'll see how much damage they...
Mason goes in.
Mason, he's gone straight in with the stun.
The dodge the Laguna with the Yules.
Can they actually bring him down? He's got the False Promise 11 now, coming in with the RP onto Arbed. Barret does kill off the Oracle on the back of it all, but they've lost the Aegis on Mason. Bulba being forced back. There's the ult from Arme to burst down.
Oh, and they get Mason.
And they bring him back as well. The BKB not going to save Mason as he's down as well. Arme with a triple kill.
Absolutely devastating there.
It really feels like the draft, that final pick, anti-mage. Absolutely genius here from LGD.
He's crushing it. Maybe also there, gets the Yules off as the Laguna Blade is coming off, ends up surviving, gets Oracle ulted, and then with a beautiful RP follow-up from 11. Absolutely perfectly synchronized.
We'll see it again here.
Bulba even stuns the Oracle as the fight goes on, so he tries to make sure that there's no save there, but yeah, maybe gets that Yules off, and then 11 gets the RP onto him, and then Ame with the follow-up. There's just no way that DC can take the fight after that.
Yeah, and we saw, you know, with this Sven being where he is, Mason, he can offer a little bit with the God Strength, but as soon as that ult's gone, there is nothing that he can do against these beefy cores of LGD, and LGD straight down the mid lane. Looking to take the racks, they do have the fortification, 15 seconds to the Sven's back. It's Silence immediate, in fact, Bulba jumping in, they've got the Ice Blast as well. But Armin turns, trying to finish up Bulba. Bulba does get him himself out to the side, still alive for the time being, finally goes down. Grip Swarm there from Maybe to bring him down. LGD will find the mid melee racks.
Oh man, and he's got Abyssal Blade now. This is
28 minutes in, Arme's anti-mage farming out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 410 CS, Owen, at 28 minutes. Almost 14 CS per minute right now at this point.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, LGD, as we said at the start, the lineup, this draft that they have, it looked terrifying on paper, and in this first 30 minutes of this game, it's looking to be exactly as we expected. LGD with very little few flaws in their execution. They've kept all tier 3s alive. They've managed to close in on this mid lane, and they have this anti-mage, nearly 10,000 net worth ahead of Mason Sven.
Yeah, it's really nice that they have, you know, the Death Prophet Crypt Swarm plus the Magnus Shockwave to be able to stall it. They do try to make the go here.
They've got the Ice Blast, they do have the stun, but again, the false promise is there. He has the self-fuels, trying to get himself out. This should be enough damage, but 11 comes in with a 3-man RP!
And the boat!
Here comes the shot! Triple kill for Arme! Mason pops the BKB, trying to tap for the heals, bringing
Maybe's
Stefan
alive.
back up to full life. Barber looking to get off the epicenter, he does, but he's down. Arme gets the ultra, he's looking for the rampage, but Forev sprouts him back. Looking to TP out.
They get the silence. He's going for the rampage.
Can he get the rampage? He can! Arme playing out of his mind. The team around him going absolutely insane. LGD, 14,000 net worth lead. They're ready to close in on this top lane.
That team fight execution, literally perfect. Maybe gets false promised, gets the Yules off, gets full healed in the fight while the RP comes out with the boat follow-up.
Such beautiful synergy just between all of the heroes on LGD's lineup. Look at this attempt. They go in, but straight away, the Yules is there. The stun's purged off, and bam. They look at
With the
amount of
Fate's
damage he
Edict
takes.
as it comes off. The Fate's Edict eats the Laguna, so no damage.
An 11 with that positioning. Perfect RP into the shark there from Victoria.
And then typical AM contribution. Walks in, mana voids, get 3 kills.
Easy rampage for Arme, level 25. Pushing on this top lane, they'll have Mason back up in 5 seconds, Forev as well, and a few more. But this top racks is almost certainly going to be gone. Boba leading in, they do have the Laguna and the Ice Blast, that's 11 down. But the melee racks are already gone on this top lane. DC will not be able to hold on to those. DC, can they turn this around? What is the ideal situation for DC?
I'm not seeing too many options
I mean,
for them,
this
to be
anti-mage.
honest. He is way too massive. He's gonna have that AC finished up too to deal with the physical damage that would be there to maybe bring him down, but it's level 25 already, almost 3,000 life on this anti-mage. You look at DC's damage output, they can't kill that. They have to have everything land on him perfectly to bring it down, but there's an Oracle, there's a Kunkka, and then if you do, there's still the Death Prophet that's there, who's not a force to be reckoned with either. Shiva's about to be picked up, 23 charge Bloodstone. An absolute menace.
I mean, we saw there Arme's GPM at the moment, nearly reaching the 900 at this stage of the game. DC
Trying to do the desperate move here, but it gets scouted out by an illusion. They've got to bail.
This is so scary. They know that there's no Magnus for 20 seconds, but LGD will almost certainly be prepared to fight without that. They're going to self-X the Death Prophet, leading up forward. She will be jumped upon. Ice Blast thrown back. Won't quite find the connection, but DC are making the space to finish this off. Now they're coming back in. Ice Blast passes across, maybe. Can he get in the pit in time? No, he can't. They will get it. They get the light strike there onto the anti-mage. You see Mason have a couple of tickles onto Arme, but DC, they're losing 3. Mason's trying to get himself out.
But the X.
It's already been used. He's going to get X back. He has the war cry.
They've got the catch.
But they're chasing in from the side. Maybe wraps in. They've got the control. They'll burst through the Aegis immediately. And they're ready for round 2. GG is called. LGD knocking Digital Chaos out of the tournament 2-0. 11 with an RP of celebration. What a performance. This team, I mean, out of all of the sides that we've seen in the upper bracket and such, people, they may have kind of been sleeping on this LGD team, but bam, they've shown us that these guys are incredible.
It's just that
Absolutely
that
incredible.
Magnus, how much farm he actually does get, the threat of the RP, that Empower, the high level Empower, just allowing Ame to farm all over the map while maybe and the other 4 pressure, giving him all the space in the world to be that carry. But that last pick anti-mage was absolutely devastating versus
really
the cores of DC.
I mean, and we saw DC, they sort of realized that at the start. They tried to shut down